Hello world, it's Calcutron here with the first episode in the series of TI Basic tutorials. The goal of this series is to take you from being a complete programming beginner to having an advanced knowledge of TI Basic. In today's world, programming is becoming more important, not just for computer scientists, but for everyone. And I think there's no better way for you to learn than on your TI-83 or TI-84 calculator. Let's get right into it and create our first program together. So in order to make a program, we start with the program key, which is abbreviated PRGM, right in the middle of your keyboard. This brings up the program menu, and it has three columns: execute, edit, and new. And we're going to use the arrow keys to go over to the new column, and then press enter to create a new program. So you'll notice that our cursor has now become a cursor with an A in it. And what this means is that we are in alpha mode. So in order to type in alpha mode, we have to use these green letters above the keys on our keyboard. So you'll notice almost every key has a green letter up and to the left of it. And this is the alpha key for that key. So let's start with this exponent symbol, which gives us an H, and then we'll do sign, which gives us an E, two left parentheses, which give us two L's, and then a 7, which gives us an O. And then we'll hit enter, and that puts us into the program editor. So we're going to be using the program editor a lot during this series, so let's start to get used to moving around and making our programs in it. And instead of putting in program commands, for now, we're just going to put in numbers and practice navigating around. I'll start with 1, 2, 3. That's a great number. And when I want to move to the next line of my program, I hit enter, and that puts me on the next line. And I can even leave a line blank and hit enter and go to the next line and keep typing away at some numbers. But again, later these numbers will be program statements and commands that tell our calculator to do interesting and useful things. So now that we're at the bottom and we've written a fabulous program, say we want to get back up to the top. We use these arrow keys to navigate up and down, and then we use the side-to-side arrow keys to navigate left and right within a statement. And then we can use the clear key to completely clear a statement. Also, the delete key can be used to delete a line. So here we're deleting this line, and let's go up and let's get this program back down to being only one line. So delete, 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 and here we are back with one line. And then let's clear this line. So say we want to put pi into our program, and we forgot that you can do the pi key on the keyboard. So let's type it out. 3.1415926, and so on. But oopsie daisies, we missed a key all the way back here. We missed the 1 between the 4 and the 5. It's supposed to be 3.1415. So you could say, well, let's just put in a 1 and hit the 1 key. But what that does is it deletes the 5. So now we're missing the 5 instead of the 1, so we're not much better off than we were before. So in order to insert something without deleting what's already there, what we do is we do second delete, and you'll see, just like the alpha keys, almost every key on the keyboard has a blue text above it, and for the delete key it says INS, which is short for insert. So this is the second function of the delete key, and when we hit second delete, that puts us into insert mode. So now when we hit 5, it doesn't delete the 9, and we get a correct approximation of pi. So let's go ahead and clear this, and we're going to start writing actual programs now. So notice when we hit the program key now, we don't see the same thing we saw before. So when you hit the program key from within the program editor, we get a fancy new menu system. And it has 3 columns: Control, I/O, which is short for input output, and execute. Whereas the menu we had before had execute, edit, and new. So let's use the arrow keys to get over to the I/O column. That's what we're going to be using for today. And let's arrow down to the display command. And if we want to use the display command, we hit enter. So now our program has the display command in it, and we need to tell it what we want to display. So let's start by using quotation marks. And the reason we need quotation marks, well, actually we'll get into that later, but just know that we are creating a string right now. And a string is just a bunch of characters all in sequence. And so we want the string to be hello world. So we denote that we're putting string by using quotation marks. So let's start H, E, L, L, O, just like before. And then here's a tricky one. How do we get a space? Well, it's alpha 0. That's the space key. And then world, alpha W, oops, W, O, R, L, D, world, hello world. And then we end our string with another quotation mark. And so that tells it that we want to display the string, and the contents of the string are hello world. But we made a small mistake. We missed the L. So we use the arrow key and we go back to where the L was supposed to be, and then we hit second insert, alpha L. And here we go. Hello world. This is our first program, but how do we run it? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to get out of this program editor. So we do second and then quit in order to get out. And then we hit program, and we can see now we have our hello world program in the execute column. So in order to execute it, we hit enter on hello, and then we hit enter again on the home screen, and boom, hello world, just like that. That is our first ever program. So now let's say we move to a Spanish speaking country and we want to change our program so that now we can greet local Spanish speakers. If we want to edit our program, we go and we hit program, and we go over to edit, we hit enter on hello. And now we're back in the program editor just like before. And let's go in and change our string using delete and insert as well as the alpha keys. And we're going to change this to Hola Mundo, which my Spanish is not great, but I believe that roughly translates to hello world. So here we go, we have Hola Mundo. So one little thing I neglected to mention was, let's say you accidentally go into the program menu when you didn't want to. How do we get out of this menu and back into our editor without selecting a command? Well, the way we do that is by hitting clear. And that works for most of the menus on this calculator. So now that we've changed it to be Hola Mundo, we should do second quit to get back to the home screen, go back to the program menu, execute, find hello, hit enter, and then hit enter again, and now it says Hola Mundo. So in this episode we learned how to use the display command and how to form strings, as well as how to create and edit programs. So I hope you learned something today. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Bye-bye.